positions, we can't rule that out.
No, forgive me. I'm asking you about what you're saying in paragraph Roman 6, paragraph B, where you are telling the inspector, from quoting from this report, that the Airport Commission has concluded that there's no strategic identified need for an airport in this location. That's your evidence. And the point that I'm putting to you is that we need to look at the whole sentence from which you quoted, which recognises a role for Manston in relieving capacity at the London airports, doesn't it?
The sentence in full says that there is some potential. It doesn't say there's a need.
Well, forgive me, the point I'm asking you about is in how you have represented the report in your subparagraph B, where you are suggesting that it's been ruled out by the Airports Commission. And the Airports Commission is actually recognising the potential for Manston to act as a reliever in terms of capacity, isn't it? And that needs to be reflected, doesn't it, in what you're saying in subparagraph B?
Subparagraph B says that the report says there is no need for an airport in this location. The report here says that it identifies some potential as a reliever airport, noting that the title relates to the proposals that do not fit with the Commission's remit or offer a solution to the key question of providing additional long-term capacity and connectivity for the UK. So I think the way you presented that is correct. It doesn't conclude that there is a need for an airport in this location. Need and potential are two different things in my view.
And so in writing your evidence, you didn't think it was appropriate or necessary to help the inspector by drawing attention to the fact that the Commission did recognise some potential for Manston Airport?
I don't think that's material.
That's a matter for the inspector to judge, but we've drawn it to his attention. Right, moving on then to the other points that you raise. Just put that document away now. So then please, coming back to paragraph 6.96C, where you draw attention to the fact that Thanet District Council didn't enter into an indemnity partnership agreement with River Oak. And I think we've already agreed that in any event, there is an alternative mechanism to resolve that matter, isn't it, through the DCA process.
Yes, agreed.
And have you had a chance to have a look at the draft indemnity agreement that was on the table at the time, Mr. Alston? Can you answer any questions about that, or would that be unfair?
That would be unfair.
Thank you. In the light of that, I won't ask you any questions relating to that. I can make submissions about it. And would the same apply to any notes being provided in respect of the correct approach or otherwise to CPOs? That's something that you'd like to pass the buck on, is it?
I'm afraid that's outside of my professional expertise.
That's very fair. That's absolutely fine. If you can't help, it's not right for me to ask you questions about it. That's absolutely fine. And then over the page, you refer at little d to Thanet District Council's Avia Solutions report. And you rely on that report, don't you, in order to make or help make your case that there's no reasonable prospect of the airport being put back into airport use, because you specifically refer to it, don't you?
Agreed.
And again, we have to see that in the light of that, Mr. Kane explained to this inquiry why he didn't think that could be relied upon. and Dr. Dixon explained why she didn't think that it was a document that could hold any weight. And neither of those judgments were challenged by the appellant, were they?
Neither of those reports of that evidence was challenged by us. It seems to me what we have is a position where we have conflicting advice from two different sets of aviation experts, none of which has been subject to independent examination.
Well, that is right, because we haven't obviously got to an examination of the local plan yet, or indeed of the DCO. But the council don't produce the writer of the ABIA solutions report to defend that report of this inquiry, do they?
That's correct.
And the appellant doesn't produce any expert to defend it either, do they?
That's correct, because it's not necessary to reach a conclusive view on those matters as part of this inquiry.
And yet you seek to rely upon it for the purposes of your evidence, don't you, Mr. Alston?
No, we do not rely upon it.
Right. On that basis then, can we put a line through subparagraph D then of your evidence? If you're no longer relying on it, can we remove it from your evidence? Can I put a line through that? Can I ask the inspector?
No, it's part of a number of points that form part of our evidence.
Well, forgive me, Mr. Alston. If you are relying upon the ABIA solutions report, then it is inevitable, isn't it, that the evidence of Mr. Kane and Dr. Dixon, insofar as the reliability of that report, also needs to be taken into account of this inquiry.
I think that's reasonable.
And that evidence is unchallenged. That's also reasonable, isn't it?
That evidence is unchallenged, but it's not to say that we agree with that evidence.
You're not in a position to disagree with it, are you, Mr. Alston, because you're not an aviation expert, are you?
Correct.
Well, that's all I want to ask you about the ABS Solutions report. Can we then move on to the next little point that you make at subparagraph E? And this, as I understand it, seems to be the point that you're making, well, not much progress has been made on the development consent order. But, and also at the end of that paragraph, where you say there's no evidence to show that recommencing the use of the airfield has a reasonable prospect of being deliverable in practice. I appreciate that you wrote that at the time and you hadn't seen River Oaks evidence, but that's no longer the case, is it?
I think it's fair to say that things have moved on a little since we prepared this proof, in that at the time, the only information we had about the River Oaks proposition was the informal public consultation document, the appeal statement, and the EIA scoping paper. So, as a consequence of receiving the proofs, we recognise that further work has been undertaken, but as per my earlier points, there's still a huge amount of work that needs to be done in order to reach a conclusive view on the proposition.
But we've already agreed that a conclusive view is not the issue for this inquiry, haven't we?
Yes.
Right. Well, can we then just come back to the limited progress on the development consent order point? Can I just have your help with this? Were you aware, perhaps you weren't, were you aware that River Oak first sought access to get onto the airport land in February 2016 in order to carry out survey work to inform its environmental impact assessment? Were you aware of that?
I can't confirm the exact dates, but I understand that they expressed an interest to gain access to the site some time ago.
And were you aware of that when you wrote your evidence?
Yes.
And therefore, River Oak first sought access in February 2016, and that was refused for a period of 6 months by the owners of the land. Now, of course, owners of land don't have to allow people onto their land if they don't want to do so. But why didn't Mrs. Globe let my client's professional consultants come onto her land? What was the reason for that?
I'm not briefed on the specific reason why access was resisted.
Because it on the face of it, it looks like she was simply just being uncooperative and unhelpful, doesn't it, in the absence of any other explanation?
My understanding is that there is an established legal process through which Section 53, if I'm correct, to provide access, there's an appropriate legal process that has gone through in order to establish arrangements for site access, to undertake, amongst other things, survey work, EIA and so on, and that my client followed that appropriate legal procedure. However, I'm not a lawyer, and therefore I cannot comment a great deal beyond that point in terms of the legal procedure through which was followed.
Yes, you're quite right. It's Section 53, but Section 53 is only there as a last resort to force people to allow those promoting a DCO onto their land when they are being uncooperative and unhelpful. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Alston?
My understanding is that it is an established procedure, and that procedure was followed.
Are you not aware of the circumstances when it's appropriate to rely on Section 53, Mr. Alston? If you're not, please say so.
I'm not.
But you're quite right. The River Oak, after 6 months of attempting to gain access to the land, then made an application to PINS to direct your clients to allow them to do so, and that was eventually granted, wasn't it? So it's 5 to 1, and that's probably an appropriate point for me to stop, if that's right, but I'm afraid I haven't finished yet.
No, in fact, you preempted me a bit. I wasn't aware that the time was ticking away, and it is nearly 1 o'clock. I just wonder, Mr. Orsby, how much longer you think you'll be in cross-examination?
I would have thought I'd got about another hour. That's I also, I mean, I did say up
yes,
to
no,
half
that's
day,
fine,
so
that's fine.
we started a bit later, so I'll be going for
mean,
about 2.
The only issue is, obviously, you're saying you'll be another hour, and I suspect Mr. King will want to re-examine as well. I don't know, Mr. King, how long you think you'll be in re-examination?
Very little at the moment.
But what the only thing that does occur to me is depending on what time we finish, it may be too late to go on site today, because I think the site visit may take a while, in the sense that the buildings are very spread out, and certain sites are reasonably contained, and you can do the visit quite quickly. It doesn't bother me. We can do the site visit tomorrow, and we can do it after closing submissions. It doesn't, there's no problem with that. I'm just thinking, if we break now, we break for say 3/4 of an hour, that will take us to 1:45, I should say, 2:45 with your cross-examinations, maybe another half hour.
Not as much as that.
No.
Really not.
But I still think by the time we get on site, it's not going to be much before 3/4 to 4, and I don't think that's going to allow enough time to do the visit properly.
You probably won't be on site till then, that's true.
No.
We've got some taxis organised, but they obviously can be cancelled.
Yeah, I mean, I do think...
It's up to you.
Well, I just, I don't want to be in a position where we're rushing the site visit. Much evidence has been presented at this inquiry, and I'm keen to see the buildings and sit properly internally as well if possible.
Oh yes, that's
and it may well be that people want to point out things on site as well, and I'd rather allow, not be time limited, as it were, in terms of you know, the other thing to bear in mind is it does get dark, you know, as well. So.
Do you want the building form? I haven't taken instructions